CitrusTV studio, and Shana Tova. You want to make some money? Let's make some money. I'm Jesse Cook, and this is Beat the Bookie. If you're new to the program, this is the show where we suggest different bets to make in the sports world for the upcoming weekend. Before I tell you what I'm looking for in Week 3 of college football season, let's reflect on where last week's host Ben Spector picked well and what he missed. Ben told you that Alabama would beat Texas and that Tulane would tackle Ole Miss, which made your bank account hurt. But he also bumped up the dollar signs, correctly going with Coach Prime's Colorado crew, Notre Dame going off, and Oregon finding its stride. Ben hit 3 bets, missing 5, and he hit 2 of 3 of his bets on his parlay, which puts him atop the BTB standings, but he's the only host to hop on the program this football season, so sorry, Ben, but you're also on the bottom of the rankings. If you're wondering who I am and what I am doing here, I'm someone who won't just open your wallet, but I'm about to create a serious retirement fund. My last name's Cook, so it would be a farce if I didn't do exactly that. It's time to hop into the kitchen and get to work. Let's start with some interconference play. Arkansas and Brigham Young have yet to play a seriously talented opponent. Both are 2-0, thanks to wins over non-Power 5 teams. The Razorbacks are favored by 8.5. I'm putting $15 down on BYU covering the spread. Arkansas QB KJ Jefferson is 16th in all of college football in completion percentage, and he's already beaten the Cougars. Last season, when Arkansas and BYU saw each other, Jefferson completed over 70% of his passes. I'm still picking Arkansas to win, but they will not cover. Let's move to Alligator Alley. We're going to Gainesville. Florida hosts number 11 Tennessee with the spread favoring the Volunteers by 6.5. I'm siding with Florida and putting down another $15. Tennessee has not beaten Florida in back-to-back years since 2003 and 04. Last year, the Vols won a cat-and-mouse affair, but the Gators stayed in the contest thanks to quarterback Anthony Richardson. You might know him. He's in the NFL now with the Colts. So this time around, it's not so much about the passers, but I'm looking to the pass catchers. Florida wide receiver Ricky Pearsall is top 15 in yards, and Tennessee's top receiver Ramel Caton isn't even in the top 100. I'm taking Florida for that pass-catching prowess. We'll keep it in the South, but move to the ACC for number 20 North Carolina and its Big Ten visitor in Minnesota. The Tar Heels are favored over the Golden Gophers by just 7.5. That's free money. $15 on North Carolina is a no-brainer. Let me run down that UNC resume for you. The Tar Heels have Drake May. That's it. He's all you need. He is easily a top 2 ACC QB. He's a top 10 QB nationally, and he's a Heisman candidate. I'm hammering that UNC pick, and I would not be surprised if it was a 3-score finish. How am I looking against the C-suite? The production crew is more confident in the favorites than I am, but it's hard to beat the bookie if you don't believe in underdogs. We've hashed out the SEC, ACC, and the Big Ten, so let's bring it all the way around to the Big 12. Earlier, we discussed BYU, but I want to highlight a different Cougars squad. Houston is an underdog against Texas Christian, but win or lose, I'm putting $5 on a prop bet that there will be a passing touchdown in every quarter. The odds are plus 430, and these quarterbacks are efficient. TCU's Chandler Morris and HU's Donovan Smith both tossed 2 TDs in each game they've played. Additionally, the Horned Frogs allow 3 house trips per game, and the Cougars let up 4. I'm counting on a passing TD in every frame. Cincinnati hosts Miami of Ohio. I have no doubt that the Bearcats won't simply beat the Redhawks, but I think they'll embarrass them. And I'm throwing my next $10 at this pick. The current line puts the over-under for total points in the game at 45.5. I'm slamming the over, dunking it in some Skyline chili, putting it on a coney, and serving it fresh outside Nippert Stadium because Emory Jones is legit at QB. Cincinnati's signal caller has tossed 7 TDs and rushed for a pair. Not only that, but do you have any idea when Miami last beat Cincy? It was 2005, and there have been 16 meetings since then. The Redhawks haven't even come within 3 scores of any of the last 4 contests. The Bearcats will win, they will win big, and they will absolutely clear a 45.5 on their own. Let's jump out of the Power 5 for Eastern Michigan against Massachusetts. Give me $5 on that plus 235 UMass money line any day of the week. Yes, the team coming out of the Berkshires is 0-2 with a loss to a Miami team that I just told you is not good, but the other loss came to a very real Auburn program. Eastern Mich isn't much better, getting a gimme win over Howard and losing to a subpar Minnesota crew. The Minutemen lead the Eagles in both passing and rushing yards. It's simple. I'm counting on the Minutemen. Let's move on to the dog of the week. I'm thinking way bigger than just puppies. I'm talking about the Bulls. I'm betting 10 that winless Buffalo will shock undefeated Liberty. The Flames are favored by 3.5, but I'm going with the underdog. UV is playing in front of its home crowd for the second time after a disappointing loss in a shocking game to Fordham. This is a squad with a chip on its shoulder, and it's a team that held tight with then number 19 Wisconsin through the first half of week 1. Calling Buffalo an underdog is bullish and catty, and it's flat out doggone wrong. For the parlay this week, let's throw $10 to win over 100 at this three-legged race. There's a big difference in skill that favors Virginia over Maryland this week, but it does not come from either squad's offense. On defense, Maryland allows an average of more than 300 yards per game, but Virginia slumps to almost 450. The over is set at 47.5 total points, so I'm betting they'll clear that. Number 16, Oregon State hosts San Diego State, and the Beavers are favored by 24.5. They're going to top that. I don't see the Aztecs coming close. SDSU jumped on a pair of subpar teams for its Week 0 and Week 1 wins. But the moment a real team came into the fold in an unranked UCLA crew, it was over. That was a 25-point drubbing, so there's no way San Diego State holds its own against a top 25 squad. And I'm capping the parlay with an underdog pick. Florida International is going to surprise Connecticut. The Panthers play to their opponents. Dating back to last season, the last 4 battles have been decided by 1 score. FIU is confident following a pair of wins, while UConn has not won since the second week of November. Huskies players also average fewer yards per game than their Panthers counterparts. FIU is going to cover the spread and win the game. Let's move away from the gridiron and onto the diamond. Cincinnati baseball, baby. I'm not talking about the Bearcats. I'm talking about the Rally Reds. They're taking my last $15 on this bet. This is a team that knows how to go and score runs. Remember that 10-game winning streak in the dead of summer? Right now, they're plus 35,000 to win the National League Central. Spoiler alert, you'll be making some money. Cincinnati has got it. The Redlegs are 7 games out of first, but they've got a much easier schedule than their division rivals in the Cubs and Brewers. Chicago is taking on current playoff programs in Arizona and Atlanta before finishing up against Milwaukee, who also plays a contending Miami team twice. Cincinnati has just 1 current playoff team remaining on the schedule and a Minnesota squad that already almost has its postseason trip locked up. Moreover, there is no bullpen more reliable than the Reds. Closer Alexis Diaz is a bona fide beast with 36 saves. That's 3rd in baseball and 1st among all closers on playoff contending rosters. With the bats, I'm excited about that BABIP. This team is 6th in baseball in BABIP. That's batting average on balls in play. Infielder, future Hall of Famer, and all-around perfect athlete, Elly De La Cruz is the epitome of BABIP. His batting average on balls in play is great. His batting average as a whole is dipped below 240, but that BABIP is up in the 330s, meaning that as long as he makes contact, he's getting on base at a ridiculous clip. Elly is one of 3 players in the top 20 in both steals and BABIP, joining little-known competitors like, Ronald Acuna Jr. and Julio Rodriguez. Ever hear of him? Cincy will make a run. In case you couldn't write your checks in time, let's recap what's on my mind. BYU will beat the spread against Arkansas because of that new and improved defense. I've got Florida surprising number 11 Tennessee because of that Gator grade receiving depth. Number 20 UNC will dominate Minnesota because Drake May is that dude. Houston and TCU are in for an air raid with a passing touchdown in every quarter. Cincinnati is going to trounce Miami of Ohio. UMass will stun Eastern Mich, and Buffalo will stampede Liberty. That parlay hits the over for total points between UVA and UMD. Oregon State will crush San Diego State, and FIU will have UConn's number. As for the future, I'm betting my last $15 and some Cincinnati Graders ice cream on those Rally Reds to surge and win the NL Central. That's a lot, but that's all for Beat the Bookie this week. You can rest easy knowing you bet the same way as an expert. With the entire BTB production crew, I'm Jesse Cook saying thanks for watching and hoping all your bets hit.